So I'm going to tell a story about how I've come to this realization that living a simple life and coming to the beach a lot and living where you can feel the sound of the wind, like right now, the sound of the ocean, you can feel the rain, you can hear the rain, you're in close contact with nature, actually heals one of the biggest problems that's wrong with people, and it has to deal with the central nervous system. I know this because when I come to the beach for days and I just fall into a more simple rhythm where I'm using less technology, I'm walking barefoot in the beach, I'm sitting here and just like laying down and watching the sunset, and when the sunrise happens I go out and I swim in the swimming pool. And I just sit there in the swimming pool and I just allow myself to just like my shoulders to relax and allow myself to kind of settle into the moment. What I find is that I find that I'm carrying this calm with me throughout the day, where I'm less stressed, I'm less tense. And the funny thing is that I think that's exactly what people need to pull themselves out of fight or flight, to pull themselves out of this panic state. And I did all these steps in the States. So I was having to meditate all the time and do grounding techniques and thought reframing, everything that I basically programmed inside of my application. What I found is that when I was living in the West, or I was living in like busy cities, and especially, America is just, it wrecks your nervous system completely. And I would say any Western country does that. Canada, Australia, it's the same mentality. Everyone's nervous system is completely destroyed. I found that I had to work like 10 times harder. Whereas when I came to the beach and I just sit here, it's just hard not to meditate. You're existing in a meditative state. Like this is meditation. Like this is, it almost feels like church. It's just like, it's hard not to sit here and feel peace. It's hard not to sit here and not feel okay, is what I'm trying to say. No matter what you're going through, whether it's tinnitus, whether it's whatever it is, it's almost like your nervous system just calms and you're just like, for once, it's like, I can finally breathe. And it's hard to, when you come here, it's hard not to be like, I'm never going to leave. And I come to this beach, this place a lot. But they're playing volleyball down there, living in the moment. I don't know if you can see it, just living in the moment. No one has their phones out, The internet doesn't work that good here. We're in the middle of the Pacific, in some random island. Beautiful. But so I think that the biggest problem with society is that everyone is just overloaded. No one's really truly happy because no one's in the moment, because you're never trained to be in the moment. You're trained to work harder, right? And it's like if you see someone like laying down on a bench just like sipping a mojito on a tropical beach at sunset. It's literally what we're doing. We're doing the picturesque. When you think of someone who retires, what do? They just sit on a beach sipping mojitos as the sun sets. I'm literally doing it. I can tell you, it is everything it's cracked up to be. It's everything I think people dream of. But here's the catch-22. Most people, if they did this, they would go bored. And I see a lot of foreigners here, and they're on their phones all the time. They don't know how to just sit here and watch the sunset. Now, there was some random like hippie dude yesterday who was just vibed out, just sitting here, just like watching the sunset. But it's not the norm what you see here. You see most people are sitting right here, literally right here, and on their phones. And you have to think, like, what are you looking at? You're where most people who are in the States, who are, they're looking at pictures of people who are taking the pictures from here. So you have to ask yourself, when you're here or swiping on your phone, what are you looking at? Like, because you're in the best place, right? Like, this is when you think of this place is gorgeous, man. The water is crystal clear. The sand is white. Palm trees literally everywhere. You can walk down the beach, palm trees all the way down there. This place is absolutely gorgeous. Volcano right over there. You can't see it right now, but the clouds are blocking, but there's literally, it's a volcano right there. So you're like, what are you looking at? And that's the programming that the nervous system, I would say, gets stuck in, is that it has to be in chronic think, chronic do, chronic swipe mode. And I think that wreaks havoc, keeping your nervous system in fight or flight for such a long time. And I think it manifests in things like tinnitus, things like depersonalization, panic, OCD, chronic disorders, autoimmune disorders, stuff like that. I think it's linked to the central nervous system. I think it's linked to feeling like you have to control life, right? So it's like when you're in the States, you're like, no one feels like they're enough. They don't have enough money. They're not young enough. They're not this enough. They're always waiting to live. They're always waiting for the next thing to happen before they can finally start living. Well, it's like, if you're in that state, even if you brought that person to the beach and sat them literally right down in the chair next to me and put a mojito in their hand and put the sunrise right there as blasting, they wouldn't know what to do. They would feel like, why can't I enjoy this? Like, I just can't. Like, why do I keep feeling like I have to go do something else? Like, I need a plan. Like, so even if, here's the most crazy part, like, even if they got everything the fantasy in their brain was telling them, they wouldn't even know how to enjoy it, right? And then that's how you know that's like a major red flag. And so when you go through the steps that tinnitus.health, my app, teaches, basically what it's teaching you how to do is sit in that chair and enjoy the present moment. And ironically, that is what heals you from tinnitus, because you're having to reframe your thoughts, right? So you're having to be like, I'm not going to control this. I'm going to learn to observe my thoughts without controlling them. I'm going to learn to reframe my thoughts. I'm going to learn to, watch the tinnitus experience and not let it carry me away. And ironically, when you're learning how to enjoy life and be in the present moment and enjoy the sunset, you're learning how to sit here and not pick up your phone when your brain's telling you, right? It's the same thing with tinnitus, right? The brain tells you, oh, obsess about tinnitus. No, we're not going to do that. Oh, the brain's telling you, we're doomed. We're not going to believe that thought, right? So the exact same thing that you have to overcome when you're trying to enjoy life again is you're trying to get your central nervous system out of fight or flight. And if you do that, you can have a ringing and everything can be fine. As the same as you can come from a Western country and be in chronic hyper-stimulus mode, and you can learn to come out of that and just be content with a sunset and a beach. And that's the funny thing is I think that most people say, oh, someday I'll do that. Someday I do that. They keep putting it off because they know even if they came here, they wouldn't be able to enjoy it. And I think that everyone knows that deep down, right? That's why people say, oh, I can't retire. Why can't you retire? Don't you think that's like a red flag? Anyway, so I think that the mechanism that causes people to freak out of tinnitus is the same reason people can't retire or can't enjoy their life. The ego always having to be in control. And that's what it comes down to. So if you want to pre-program your ego, reprogram your mind to let tinnitus go, meet me here at the beach. No, you can just get the app. You can do it much cheaper than that, than having to come see me. You can just get the app. It's a 7-day free trial. And you can learn to let tinnitus go. And that same skill set is going to cross over to where if you ever want to retire early and you're like, I want to enjoy my life, you can learn to meditate on the beach. And you don't always have to be doing something, but you can be resting, and being is enough. You don't have to do anything. You already are. And that's enough. And that's all it really ever needs to be. I'm going to get back to this. We don't want to miss that sunset. I'll talk to you later. Make sure to comment below. I love this channel so much. I'll talk to you next time. Peace.